really well known for is that we can never really understand color physically. And he talked a lot about how the only way to teach color is to use, and this is probably why he used pieces of paper, is that you can't really tell the composition of either of these colors on their own, right? You can't tell which one of these reds has more orange or more blue in it until you see them side by side, right? And so that was kind of the core of his approach to understanding and teaching color, was to show color in conjunction, juxtaposition. So color terms, this is going to be important in this class, right? So when we're talking about the hue, that's the color name that we all associate from the color wheel. Everybody learned the color wheel in class, right? What are the three primary colors? Red, blue, and yellow, right? Red, blue, and yellow. We were taught that those were the primary colors, right? So that blue is the hue, right? We can also talk about its saturation or chroma, which effectively is how pure it is. And we'll get into this a little bit more in the next couple slides when we talk about Munsell's color charting system, which again I find to be super helpful. We can also talk about its value, and what we're talking about there is not its cultural or economic value. We're talking about whether it is a tone or a shade or a tint. Okay, so how much, again, if a fully saturated blue is a blue with no white or presence of white or black in it, a blue tone would be either a shade, which is blue that is moving towards black, or a tint, which is blue, which is moving towards white. And then we also, the other color terms which we may use, complementary. Does anybody know what that means? Complementary colors? What are two complementary colors that we see on this little diagram?
Blue and orange.
Blue and orange, yeah. They're the best complementary colors together. And then analogous colors. So what are two analogous colors on this chart that we have?
Teal and blue?
Yes, thank you. And triadic.
Blue, yellow, red?
Yeah. So it's three colors that are, again, that's why I picked this diagram, because it has the triangle, so that you could hopefully understand a little bit better about what triadic colors are. So let's spend as much time on this as we need to. Go ahead.
Okay. What was analogous? I didn't understand.
Analogous is two colors that are very close to each other on this conventional spectrum, right?
So blue and teal?
Blue and teal would be analogous colors, right? Violet and amber are complementary colors. Yep. And triadic colors would be purple, orange, and green, which happen to also be all of the secondary colors. All of this will be available in the PDF of the slide presentation if you guys need to refamiliarize yourself. And if I ever use one of these terms and it doesn't quite stick, just feel free to ask a question in the flow of the conversation. Yes?
So a chartreuse could be analogous with either green or yellow?
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yep. So one of the ways that has been developed to talk about color was by Munsell. And so the next slide we'll see he envisioned color as a sphere, a physical three-dimensional sphere. The hues were the traditional spectrum of colors. Is Roy G. Biv, if I say that, do people know what I mean? The red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, can be arranged in a circle. So Munsell arranged all of the hues around the outside of the sphere, and then he gave them a second dimension, which is absolute black and pure white at the top. And so what I find useful to this is that it gives us a way to understand the multiple dimensions of color. So if we talk about, Munsell used the word chroma in subtractive color theory, you might also hear the word saturation. A saturated color is a color that in Munsell's color system would be all the way out towards the edge of, I know this isn't a picture of a sphere, but what you're seeing right here is kind of a cross section of the sphere, if you will. So when we talk about chroma or saturation for a hue, we're talking about a color that in Munsell's color system would be around the outside middle of his particular diagram. This might help a little bit more. So this is getting a little closer to explaining how Munsell viewed, for example, a super saturated blue would be out here. A shade of blue would be a blue that, with this color sphere, would be moving this direction, right, towards black. Or another shade maybe moving towards a gray. And then, tint would be moving in this direction. And what I find interesting and useful about this color theory, I should find another one that's be really useful if I had one that didn't have any of this red right here, because then you could see the relationship between orange and blue, which are complementary colors. And within Munsell's color system, as you move through this color sphere towards each other, you move towards a gray. And that's one of the things that we're going to learn about in this class. You guys, I'm surprised that no one pointed out the fact that I didn't ask you guys to buy any black paint for this class. And there's a reason for that. You can mix it yourselves out of colors, right? And so, again, what I think if you guys, can use this as a tool, is it will give you a way to think about the relationship between what colors you need to mix to get towards the color that you want to get. There's also books that you can buy. There's whole classes on Munsell's color theory where you'll paint quadrants. You'll do color studies and paint quadrants. Like you'll pick an orange, and then I'll put a slide in the next presentation so you can see what I'm talking about. And there's a Munsell color theory, Google Munsell color theory, and it's the top hit. There's a website where you can buy all the books, all the supplies to study all the Munsell color theory stuff. But in these classes, you'll start typically with, like, you would paint this quadrant, and so the idea is to take this color and then use other colors to mix the rest of what you would need to come up with the other tones and shades. So anyway, backing up one slide. So yeah, this is Munsell's color system perceived the color in 3 dimensions. There's value, hue, and chroma, or saturation and intensity. We'll come back to diagrams like this at different points in the class to kind of hopefully explain again, like, what the relationship is 3-dimensionally between 2 colors, to understand how to arrive at a color that's between 2 points.
I was wondering if you could just, in a preliminary way, you talk about complementary into gray. How do you get from black to white?
Well, that is one of the reasons that I did have you guys get a tube of titanium white, is because we are dealing with subtractive color theory. Totally, yeah. Yeah, and I should have said that at the beginning of the class. Anybody needs to get up and leave, take a phone call, just leave because you're tired of me, hit the head, whatever, please, go right ahead. Yeah, because we're dealing with subtractive color theory, there's no way we can mix our way to pure white, so we do have to have pure white. Thank you, that was a great question. Really useful in the flow of the conversation. But we can get pretty close to black, in particular with actually will require 3 colors, but mixing a green and then using the quinadrochrome red, we can get pretty close to a pure black. And we're actually going to start this class. This is not actually an Albers quote. Thank you guys for laughing. That makes me feel better. What we're going to start with today as an exercise is trying to get a little bit better at seeing tone. So, does everybody have paper? Okay. What I would like for us to do today is to start, and I started on one last night, is making a grayscale. Now, I brought Vine charcoal, which I apologize, I had forgotten is so much softer than I remembered it being. So I I was hoping that we could all do a 10-step grayscale. I think that's gonna be next to impossible with this fine charcoal. So the way that I'm gonna present this exercise to you guys, and I'm gonna spend a little time drawing right here on the drawing board, is I'd like you guys to try for at least 8 steps. It's gonna be hard. Where are we on time? 9:49. This class goes till 10:30,
Yeah.
right? Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go ahead and press stop on the recording now.